In this video series, we'll be doing a full walkthrough for Thymesia. We'll be going through every single level. I'll also be giving some vocal guidance, some hints, tips, and combat tactics along the way, and some recommendations on how to spend the talent points in the skill trees. We will be collecting all 11 lore items, which will give us an achievement / a trophy. I'll be playing this on Steam with the Xbox One controller plugged into my PC. With all that being said, my name is Azzavhar or Azza. Now let's jump into it. Alright, so let's get cracking on through the tutorial. This bit is just all about basic movements and all that good stuff. This bit tells us about Saber Attacks, wounds, and executions. So if we attack this enemy here, you'll see it's got a white health bar and a green wounds bar. And if we don't do any damage to the enemy for a little while, the health bar will regenerate up to the green wounds bar, like so. The enemy also glows like a green colour, and the bar also glows a green colour as well, just like that. And then if we bring those down to 0, they'll be in a dazed state, and you'll see the red execution icon like that. So one more attack to carry out the execution. If you don't execute them in time, they will get back up and rejoin the battle. So just keep that in mind. So don't leave them in that state for too long. That is that. This next bit will tell us about deflecting and perfect parries. This is very, very similar to Sekiro if you have played Sekiro. Basically this is just LB to do a perfect deflect or a perfect parry. If you do get the perfect deflect, then it will do damage to the enemy as well. So you'll see the health bar is quite low. We've not even attacked them yet, so there we go. That's that. There's also a collectible piece of paper in that house if you want to grab that bad boy. You can push in the left thumbstick to sprint, and if you push in the right thumbstick, it will lock on, and you can flick that left and right to switch between targets. Let's watch out for the enemy. They usually open with like a run-in attack like that. So that is that, and we just got a key item which was highlighted in gold to open this gate. This bit tells us about the claw, which is right trigger to use the claw. The claw is intended to do damage to the wounds, which is the green bar, and the saber, or the sword, is intended to do damage to the health, which is the white bar. So, for example, health is currently there, and if we use the claw, you'll notice that the claw is not really doing any damage whatsoever. So it's got to be the saber first to take away the health, and then the claw second to take away the wounds. This bit tells us about obtaining a plague weapon, so you can kind of hold down. We was in the middle of an attack there, so we already took that guy out. I'll show you on this one here. So if the enemy is in a dazed state, like so, hold down right trigger to charge the claw, and then we can like rip out the plague weapon like that. So now we have access to a plague weapon. You can see in the bottom right hand corner it's the picture, the icon of the axe. Then if you press Y, we can cast the plague weapon like so. Just a one-time cast thing. What you can do as well sometimes is push in the right stick if you think an enemy might be lying in wait, and it will actually lock on. That one there is kind of hiding, so you can use that to reveal hidden enemies sometimes. So you can take out a plague weapon. This just tells us about a potion here, by the way, so just up on the D-pad to use a potion. So what I was showing you is you can hold down right trigger to charge the claw and rip out the plague weapon at any time. They don't have to be in the dazed state. It's just that when they're in the dazed state like that, it's a lot easier to do that without getting hit. And sometimes you can be knocked out of your sort of like charged state. It'll stop you from doing the attack. So if you can find a, like a cheeky opportunity to rip out a plague weapon, then definitely go for it mid-combat. Another collectible piece of paper there if you want to grab that. This next bit tells us about beacons, which is basically a checkpoint. So you just press it once to activate the checkpoint, and then press it again to rest at the checkpoint. So resting at the checkpoint will give us our potions back, and it will regenerate enemies. It regenerates most enemies, but it doesn't regenerate every single enemy. Like this one around the corner, this one here, is quite a tough enemy, and these don't regenerate after we rest at the beacons. This bit tells us about feathers, which you can use to interrupt certain attacks, like a charged attack with a green glow. So he will probably do the charged attack. This guy is a bit of a spicy meatball. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'll try and show the feather attack if we can do. Sometimes it's a bit hit and miss with the feathers. Like that. So we did throw a feather, but it was slightly off timing there. This guy's got a really good plague weapon, so you can rip that out, and it's like a great sword, which is probably one of my favourite plague weapons in the entire game, actually. The feathers also regenerate, so if you don't throw some for some time, the feathers will slowly regenerate over time. Once again, you can rip out the plague weapon at any point, like that. There we go. We'll try and show you a feather interrupt, but with this particular guy, sometimes it's a bit hit and miss. Doesn't always work, so I think we'll just blast through this enemy. Yeah, let's just go for that. There we go. So that is that. We've got the key item, the key to the cemetery. I tend to use a different move to avoid that charged attack on the enemy, but we don't have it unlocked just yet, but we will unlock it later with the talent trees and the skill points. So if you have used some potions and stuff on that fight there, you can just rest at the beacon there if you want to get your potions back and stuff like that. And we now got the key item, so we can pop those gates open. There's a collectible just there. I recommend taking the plague weapon from that enemy if you can do as well, so it's really good against him. There might be a collectible there. No, that's later on in the game, I think. Go head on down here. A couple of enemies to take out, some bits and bobs. Got a lance user. Use the plague weapon that we got earlier. Once again, you can rip out the plague weapon if you want to. There we go. That'll do. So blast through the enemy. And you would have noticed that when we rested at that beacon before, the tougher enemy didn't respawn. So those are the types of enemies that don't respawn when you rest at the beacons. Grab that collectible piece of paper. Let's blast through this guy here. I think that's most things in this area. So we'll push on forward, and then this will take us up to a tutorial boss. Technically speaking, you can kind of win the fight if you bring his health bar down to 0. You can get an achievement for this. But for the purposes of this walkthrough, I'm going to take a couple of hits. And that will bring us to the central hub. This place is called Philosopher's Hill. And we can also speak to the NPC here called Azzavhar. And from here we have access to the rest of the game. There's loads more video game tutorials, boss guides and walkthroughs on my channel. Some videos have just popped up right now, feel free to check them out and give them a click. I've covered loads of games such as Elden Ring, Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Nioh 2, Ninja Gaiden and loads more. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.